Brothers and sisters, you're most welcome to my house here. We'll have a very interesting session. We'll have a series of sessions which we'll be doing together here. And I hope, for sure, you'll get interested of it. So you're most welcome. And so we have been meeting before. We have done some stuffs before. And today, and as we go ahead, you will see every time interesting things together. So just to start with, can you kindly stand up? We'll do a kind of an energizer. Energizer is something that makes people energized. And now, as we start here, we'll have this energizer known as Pass the Club. Okay? Pass the Club. This game is a very interesting one. But the most important part of this game that it needs one to be very careful in terms of listening, seeing, and doing the thing which I will explain you right now. So in an exercise of passing the club, you will do something like a domino effect. Do you know the domino effect? No one knows about the domino effect. Okay, let me show you how is the domino effect looks like. Okay. See this one? Do you get the concept of a domino effect? So domino effect is like it's a game which once you start something, it starts going to, overlapping to the other, overlapping up to the next. Is it okay? So it's the domino effect. Can you come close here? Yes. Now we'll do the passing the club. The passing the club will be like this. I'll do this way. Can we kindly do this in your right side? Yes. So I'll pass a club to this. And this one will clap to the next. So you will receive and pass it to the next. Okay? Let us try. Do this. Yes. Very good. Yes. Okay. So we'll do it as quick as possible, and I would like to find a voice that goes like a domino effect. Okay, let us try again. Okay, very good. So this is how we are going to do. We'll have some different levels. Let us start with level 1. The way we have been doing it right now. So that was level 1 to say. Let us do it again. Very good. So this is level 1 of the game. We will go into the second level. All right? And in this way, we saw that it was only going into one direction. But in the second level, it can change the direction anyhow. Anywhere it can change. For example, If it was going this way, you can change it back, and the person ambaye unapokea, then it goes to another direction, and you can change it anyhow. Okay, so some people may be late to get the same until it comes. Okay, now let me try once again. This is the second level. You can change the direction anytime. No, you have to receive, and you receive unless you have it from your next friend, okay? Yes. Don't clap unless it comes from the neighbor, okay? Yeah. No, look at it. Eh? No, it went direct and you did it once again, okay? No. Okay? Make sure you receive from a friend who is just directing it from you. Okay? Okay, start. You see? So be careful. As I said before, this game needs to be very, very careful. Careful in terms of listening, in terms of watching the movement, in terms of doing it, receiving, okay? I start once again. So this is level 2, we are going to do it. Wow, very good. Yes. And now we are going to the third level. And the third level is even more interesting, okay? In the third level, I'm going to start the clap. It will be in only one direction, okay? So make sure you count the numbers of claps you have by yourself, okay? So you will have more exercises, because now you will need to count the numbers of clap that comes from the next, from your friend, okay? So for example, I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5. So you will also count by imitating, by not giving voice, okay? So let's start. Okay, how many claps did you have? 3. 4. 3. 3. I had 9. Where did you lose? There were 9 claps. I prepared 9 of them. So be careful once again. How many? 5. 10. Yes, it was 10. 10. 4. So there are it was lost somewhere here. Okay? We have to do this one unless we have the same number for all of us. So kindly, we are not going to win this game until we have the same numbers to all of us. Let us make it very careful, okay? Don't clap unless you have a clap from the neighbor. Sawa? Usigonge mpaka umepokea kutoka kwa anayekupa. Kwa hiyo akikupa unaihesabu ni ngapi hiyo aliyokupa. Sawa? Kwa hiyo the most important part from you ni mtu wa nyuma yako. Okay? Yeah. For example, from Okti here, the most important person to her is to see where this clap comes. That is from me, okay? Okay, I start then once again. How many times? 5. 7. Now don't forget. Let's start once again. Quick. How many? 8. It's 10.
I got 9.
You got 9. So be careful once again. How much?
13.
13.
Yes.
14. It was only 11. Where did you get them more?
14.
Huh? Where did you get? Yes? Okay, let's start once again. How many times?
8.
8.
9.
10. So this one lost 1, lost 2. Okay, we have to do this one until we get the same numbers. Okay.
Eight.
9. It was 9, so it was lost. So some people are still losing the club. And it will take us some time, say, what's not happening? What is not happening? Now be careful. Now I need one to be more careful, and because we have repeated it several times. Okay, let us start. It was 7. It was 7. Now I do it for the last. Okay. Be careful. Listening from your friend before you, and count the numbers of clubs. Whoa! We won the game. Very good. Thank you very much. Yeah. Now get seated. I will ask you to stay in pairs and discuss what did you learn from this game. Okay, very good. Now, I need one volunteer to write on the flip chart to collect the sharing from others. What did we learn from this game? Who wants to volunteer?
Okay. Maybe let me start with egg pair. What did you get from the game that we did here?
I myself were given attention, careful, and be sharp.
Attention. Next, being careful.
Being sharp.
Sharp. What about you, brothers? Yes?
And as a teacher, you got to teach your pupils.
Yes.
You must start to teach from simple to complex.
Okay.
Another one is repetition.
Repetition.
You get to understand this.
Focus. Next.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Up to the moment, we have covered the first domain, which is the F domain. And the F domain is all about the learner-centric. The learner-centric, okay? And from this domain, we have some principles. Every domain have its own principles. From the first domain, we have the three principles, which are individualizing, I mean to individualize the student, and the second is probing and assessing, to probe the student and to assess the session. And the third principle has been trusting the learner. Trusting the learner. And I put the learner not by mistake, but by design, by insisting that we are focusing on one learner in a class, but not considering it as the whole class, okay? And also we went on looking the second domain, and this was about interacting with the dynamics, the classroom dynamics. However, as far as it is concerned, now we will be going to a very important part of this framework, which is something to do with R. What did we do with the energizer? What kind of the last energizer we did here? What was the name of the energizer? You remember? Pass the what? Pass the club. It was pass the club. Celia? Yes. So they passed the club, but at the end of the day, I asked you something. I asked you, what did you learn? And you produced all this. Okay? So, you said that you had attention from the game, okay? You had something important to learn about carefulness, being sharp, very good, learning and teaching from simple to complex, repetition, makes perfect, focus, concentration. This is what you drawn by yourself from the game. All right? So, in this aspect, what is this all about? This is what we call it reviewing. I've never heard the voices of reviewing from you. Say reviewing. Yes. And so, to say, the energizer we had, the pass the club, was nothing but it was just this was just an activity. In this case, most of the teachers have concentrated much. For example, when we say we want to do activities into the class, do concentrate much on the activity itself. Okay, do this, do this, do this. You see the activities going. But we forget the very, very important part, which is the this is the activity. The most important part we as teachers forget is the R. And this is the readiness. to prepare the readiness of the students. And not just a readiness to come by itself. Readiness should be prepared by a facilitator or a teacher in that case. Okay? So, do you remember maybe what kind of readiness did we do here before doing the Pass the Club? Do you remember what kind of activities which was purposely for creating your attention? I mean, making you ready to come to this game. What did I do? Yes? What did I do to make yourself ready to come to this activity? Yes, the Energizer. What did I do? For example, I explained. I explained that we are going to do something that is to make you ready. Something that I did to make you ready to come for the activity. What other thing you remember nilifanya hapa for the purpose of making you ready? What was it? Yes? Yes. Standing up. Very good. Another thing? Yes, to come close. Very good. Yeah, that was just to prepare yourself. Yeah, you prepare the readiness. You prepare the class to be active as much as possible. So, just to ask you, when we did this one, we had something, we call it reviewing. And this is the paper that we did, the review. So in this aspect on the review, of the activity, the facilitator, in this case it is me, I had the very strong responsibility to make sure that you are ready to get to the game. To see that you are, I invite you to come to the game. I do all the things necessary to make sure that I support you. First, I energize you to have enough energies to do this game. And second is to explain how the game looks like. That is to facilitate, okay? But the third was to support you. Like I was explaining, do this, do this, do this. All right? Now, just a simple question. What is the importance of readiness? Why do we do all that way to make the student ready?
It helps us to have a full concentration for what we're doing.
Very good. Yes? Kitu kingine? Yes, in teaching process it's important for making sure that learners are prepared. Very good. Can you stay in pairs again to think of what kind of readiness you can prepare yourself for class to start? Can you kindly share with brothers mwe watatu? And you share what kind of readiness mnaweza mkafanya nini ili kisha kwamba at least the students are ready. Very good. Now we can proceed. Thank you very much. I think you shared a lot what you can do in terms of keeping students ready to get to the lesson. Let us have a break. Previously, we have been doing a lot with energizers. For the first time now, we will move from doing an energizer only, And now we'll be doing an educational game. Look, previously we have been doing an energizer. And the energizer, what was the name of an energizer? Pass the club. That was an energizer. Now we can change this one into an educational game. You see? So look what we did in the previous time when we were doing the Pass the Club. You see? At the end of the day, I asked you something which was all about what did you learn from the game? And you produced a very good piece of job. I can see it here. You said that the game is raising attention. It makes one being careful. It makes one to be sharp. It's a learning technique from simple to complex. Repetition makes perfect. Very good. Focus and makes something concentration. So we produced this piece of paper, a piece of job from the energizer. Now, what is this? This is all about reviewing. Can we say reviewing? Reviewing. Yeah. When you add another R, when you add a different letter now here, from the activity base here, at first we added the readiness, okay? Now suppose you are in a class, you do a very good readiness to your learners. And second, you do a very good activity to the learners, and then you stop there. What will happen? In fact, nothing happens. The learning does not take place in just raising their attention, doing the best activity. But if you want to make a huge impact, a very good impact in terms of learning, we have to add another R. And this is the reviewing part. When we said, what did we learn? We reviewed the whole process of the game, and now this is no longer an energizer alone. It's an energizer, but it is an educational game because we have added something important. This is the reviewing part. So the reviewing part is the main part of any positive, impactful learning. So one of the mistakes that happen to most teachers all over is concentrating much on the activity, on the middle letter, that is the activity. Doing the practical jobs whatsoever, but all the attentions the student have, there will be just normal student. But if you add the reviewing part, this is the maximum part which now learning is taking place. Learning does not actually depend from what is happening in an activity, but it depends on what is going to happen after the activity. So we don't learn from the experience, something we're experiencing, but we learn from what is going to happen after. We learn from reflecting from that experience. So this is the very big difference between doing just an activity and making that an activity into an educational. That is, we put the, what is that very important part we put in an energizer to become an educational game? We call it what? Reviewing. Reviewing. If we put the reviewing part, it becomes an educational game. So by this, we have added a very important part in the first framework. Let me give you some piece of work. I'll give you this sheets of work. So in pairs, please read the sheets of paper about the reviewing domain, which is the very important part in the domain in the first framework, and see how you are going to apply this one in your class. Let us have a break. Now, I think of an activity is the deepest kind of learning ever you can do. And I'm sure you're going to get attention to it. I'll explain. First, I'll explain you how. And second, first, I'll distribute you with these pieces of sheets. And make sure you have a piece of pen. Oops. Yes. You have a piece of pen. You find some pieces of books. You are going to do a very important part, important activity. And this activity is called journaling. In journaling, this is the deepest kind where a human being can learn. I'll explain you how to do the journaling. As well, I will explain you what to do. How we do this, you have a piece of paper and you have a piece of pen. Just try to think from this trip of learning we have designed today. Think of the time before you came here, when I invited you to come to this. What were your feelings? what was your expectations? What did you think it's going to happen? And think the time you have been into this session and the current and this moment you have. How do you feel now? What is happening in the whole process during this trip now? You say now, before the trip, during this trip, and now the third part will be the post-trip. That is, after this session, what is your perception? What do you think is we're going to do next maybe? So I'll give you time. I'll give you some 15 minutes to do this job. And to me, to be more precise, I'll give you 12 minutes. The first part, you will do it for 4 minutes, the pre-trip. During the trip, you'll do it for 4 minutes, and the post-trip, you'll do it for 4 minutes. So you write. Now, how to write? You will keep your pen on a piece of paper and start writing all the feelings, all the perceptions before you came here, and after you have been here, and after you have left from here. Think. It's not an exercise. Don't hurt your fingers. This is not a speedy test, but it's journaling. So kindly, when you start writing, please don't stop. Don't stop. Continue writing until I tell you to stop. Continue writing deeply, and even if you will miss things to write, you may even continue writing your name or writing anything in connection until you connect the things you want to connect. So don't stop until the end of. If you need extra papers, I can give you. You just raise your hand without speaking, and now you will start writing. So, is it clear? You need more explanations maybe? Is it clear to everybody? Yes? Yeah, I've said that there's no need of writing a heading, but just write the flow of information. Your feelings before coming to this. When I just called you over the phone or invited you to come, what were your feelings? What were you thinking is going to happen? So start writing. And second, after finishing that one, you will start writing what you have been feeling since. Yeah. Is there anyone who wants some more explanation to do this? Okay. Now, give you 12 minutes. It is 2:19. We can start. We are about to finish the second part. For those who haven't finished the second part, please make sure you finish. And now you can start going to the second part, to the third part. Prepare your last sentences. Thank you. Make sure you wind up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to learn from you. What happened? What are you feeling in general after this journaling? How are you feeling by yourself? You know, yes. Let me hear from you. Yes.
I feel like I get something new in my life for a precious thing.
Okay. Good. Another one. Just explain, how do you feel after this? How do you feel? Anyone who wants to share the feeling, not from this, but how do you feel in this exercise in general? Do you want to say something?
Actually, I feel something in connection because I was just trying to write something which is, I have to think quickly and just recalling quickly about the session, about my expectation and so forth. So I was a little bit, it was a little bit difficult to think quickly and write something because of the time, and because sometimes we need to think and write, so it becomes somehow difficult to think as well as you are writing.
Okay, but what was your inner feelings about this process? Was it touching you?
Yeah, sure, it was touching. It was touching because even something which I wrote here, it's really it was touching to me.
Touching. Okay. Anyone else who wants to explain? Bas? No. Brothers? No, everybody can. Yeah. Thank you. And how do you find this journaling? How do you find it? Naionaje? You can even speak in Kiswahili, no problem. Yes? Naionaje hii exercise ya journaling? Okay. I said that this is a confidential work shared to anybody unless you wish, and if you think you can share to us. Anyone who wants to share what he or she has written. Anyone who is ready? Kuna mtu yote yuko tayari kushare from this? I think you have written something deep in twos. Can you share together? Anyway, before we do this one, can you stand up all together? Yes, we'll do the following. I'll do this way. See the way I'm doing. Okay? So, you will clap the hands when you see my hands coming together. Okay? Like, if you find they are in this side, you clap. Okay? Don't clap when they are here. Don't clap when they are here. Only clap when you find my hands are here. Okay? Okay. Now you start. Okay, again. Thank you very much. Let's get seated. So, in fact, and beyond reasonable doubt, what we do in classes, and especially with the last activity we have done, what's the importance of such a deep kind of an activity? What is the purpose of it? As far as you are saying here, the purpose, the main purpose, is that we would like I don't know if you know the meaning of this letter. I mean the meaning of this figure. We have always been using this one for change. The main purpose is to see a change in behaviors, in skills, in attitude of the learners. That is, of the learner, that one learner. We are seeking to see the change. As long as you teach, for example, I just ask you, when you are teaching an English lesson in a classroom, do you think, I want to learn from you, do you think just after the end of the session, a learner will change automatically to be fluent in speaking English language? Do you think this is possible? I want to hear from you. Jumanne. Yes? I want to hear from you. Is it possible? Impossible. Okay. So I think there is something important we have to do to see that what we are doing in class to influence change. We have to do something that will guarantee the change of a learner. And what is that? And now the T domain is all about the T domain deals on how to transfer the learning into performance. First, we have done with the second domain, that is the reviewing, of which the reviewing we saw that there was an important of doing what? Pale tuna A, the activity. See, before the activity we have to do what? To raise the attention of the students. Yes, I mean to create the readiness. First let the activity and something to add from that. We have to do what so that the learning can happen? We have to review. Have to review. So all this does not actually guarantee the change of the learner. And now we have this domain, the T domain, and the T domain is all about transforming. So there are some skills necessary for a teacher to transform learning into the application. The learner doesn't actually relate the topic and the real life. So far we have done, in the first framework, we have done the first domain, which is focusing. We did the second domain, which is all about interacting. And we did the third domain, that is all about reviewing. We went to the fourth one, which was structuring and sequencing. And last, now we are doing on the T domain, that is transforming. Transforming. So, what are those such skills to let the student relate the topic and the real life? What should we do? In this principle, in this domain, we have 3 principles. Reflecting on reality. And actually, this is what we have been doing with journaling. There is a big difference between speaking the relevance and the reflections. For example, look at here. I just had some few examples, and you have a lot of examples by yourself. One, I can be a teacher and speak something important in the class, speak about a certain topic. In order to relate from that topic to the real life, I can do examples. I can give examples because, for example, this one is related to this. For example, this one you can find it somewhere. For example, this one is related to something. But this one is the relevance only to the part of the facilitator or to the learner. But now we need to differentiate between reflection and relevance. Tofauti kati ya kumpa mwanafunzi mifano na pale ambapo anaweza kupata anaweza kureflect. Kureflect na kumpa mifano ni vitu viwili tofauti. Mfano, when we were doing the journaling, I didn't give you the answers, but it was you who was giving out the reflections. Before I came here, nilifikiria hivi. Na sasa hivi, pako hivi. Ninafikiria katika hali yangu ninayofanyaga kazi nitafanya hivi na hivi. That is reflection by yourself. I'm not giving you examples. Sindio? So this is the reflection part. Reflection on the reality. So the purpose of the learner here is to encourage the learners to reflect, to guide them to reflect, to support them to reflect. So the first principle here is reflection on reality. It's important to note to every one of us that reflection is only pulled from learners and not given by the facilitator or the teacher. You ask from learners to give so that they can reflect by themselves. This is reflection. So even with the time you're preparing our local lesson plans, you have the part of reflection. The very big difference in terms of reflection is pulling and pushing. When I'm explaining, for example, the time in the meantime when I'm speaking to you, I'm trying hard, using this hard language of the colonial language to explain. This is pushing. But taking from you, pulling, that is a skill that will help a learner to reflect. How did you see this? What will you do? What will happen so the learner does by himself or herself? For example, let us think of a subject. Any subject, let us think by ourselves. Which subject should we choose so that we think how can we facilitate the reflection? Should we choose mathematics, physics, chemistry, history, Kiswahili? Tuchague somo gani? Yes? Yes, mathematics. Mathematics. Okay, very good. Idrisa? Mathematics. Mwenyevua? Mathematics. Abbas? Mathematics. Accepted. Accepted. Mathematics is accepted. So please keep yourself in pairs to think. What will you do? What will you do to make sure students reflect? Mwanafunzi aweze kureflect about mathematics. Nini kwa mfano kinaweza kawa ni reflection ya mathematics? Mwanafunzi anaweza akasema. Yes, can you share? I want to listen from any group. Brothers. Zana. Okay. Tutatumia zana. Okay. Good. Brothers wamesema tutatumia zana. And it should be very important for all of us to remember kwamba me, I'm not looking on what you facilitator should do. Maybe I can use the calculations for purchasing. When I'm purchasing goods, I can use the knowledge of mathematics. Kitu gani kingine ambacho mwanafunzi anaweza akareflect about mathematics through transactions? Yes. Yes, very good. Very good. Yes. The same. Okay, very good. You have very good. Using school timetable. If you have the knowledge of mathematics, now you can calculate how much time should be placed here, how much time should be placed somewhere. Yeah. And let us go to the second principle in the last domain. This is practicing. If the student has reflected, made the reflection on reality, and in terms of reflecting on reality, there are some steps. I should stop here because not only doing this one, but also for our own advantages. In reflecting on reality, there are some steps to reflect. One, you should get the learners to know, to think of the previous time. What has been previously about his or her knowledge about the topic. What has been the advantage of that topic before? Sikujua kabisa umuhimu wa hiki kitu. You see? And then the second part is the current. Kama mkiangalia ile journaling, how it is structured. It is structured into 3 major parts. The pre-trip, during the trip, and the post-trip. In the current, how do you see the advantages of this topic to your own life? Sorry? And the third part, what will you do? What are you going to do with this topic? Sababu hapa katikati amepata ile kumbe. Okay? Akishakujua, so what? What next? That is the third part in the reflection. So it is the very important part for a teacher who actually wants to go to the next level. Okay. So the second part is, the second principle is practicing. Practicing. And let me ask you one question. For example, you did a lesson and then you point a student to go on a chalkboard to do a kind of calculation of mathematics to see if he or she was actually able to follow the session. So, is that one enough? Is that one enough? Okay, why enough or what's enough? The thing is, if the student comes in front to do a kind of practice, and at the end of the day, you as a teacher or a facilitator understand that, okay, she's correct or she's right, that is not only enough. We need something else in the practicing. Have you ever heard of something called practice makes perfect? Yes. Practice makes perfect. But now, here we say practice plus feedback. This one equals to perfect. See? Practice plus the feedback. And in terms of feedback, we have two kinds of feedback. There must be some positive feedback. You did well. You did it's wonderful, nice. What? So this is a positive feedback. But another kind of feedback is the constructive feedback. Unampa feedback ya kumrekebisha, ambayo sio kumwambia no. You give him or her a constructive feedback for him or her to understand happily with a good joy that I was given a good opportunity to learn. I would have loved if you would have done this way. It would have been so much better. You did very well, but it would have been done the best of it if you would have done this way. Okay? So, practice plus feedback equals to perfect. And maybe the last principle from the T domain is continuity and follow-up. So you will see teaching is not just one going to class and stay on the chalkboard, shuka the material up to mwisho, but it's a series of activities that a teacher has to do, students has to do to make sure that learning is taking place. What action items is the learner putting for the purpose of implementing what he or she has learned from the class? It's like a strategic plan. It's like an action plan. What actions? Who will help me to do this? I will do this, and this one will be helped by this, and I will do when, what. All these items need to be planned to get the real impact which is desired. And maybe also how they are themselves going to enhance the learning they have got from the lesson. How are they going to make this learning stable? Wataendeleaje kuweka kile ambacho wamejifunza kuendelea kuwa nacho? Watakitunzaje? Hiyo ni plan ambayo wanaiweka wao as learners. Okay? So in fact, if you see the last item, the facilitator or the teacher, is the responsibility of a facilitator or teacher is to engage a kind of responsibility to the part of the learners for themselves to be responsible